only about a boat length and a half into it, though. That's a fairly large line bias to that shorter end, to that low bottom, lower speed end. So we'll see if the team sometimes start fighting for that end of the starting line, especially in lighter breeze. We're off. We're within 3 minutes. This race is going to happen. Let's just hope our little 25-minute time limit does not come into play this time around.
So Nathan Attridge and Sweden with port entry as we see Peter Burling and Emirates Team New Zealand arriving from the other side. Now, are we going to see aggressive tactics from either of these two helmsmen in the pre-start?
Well, 7.5 knots of wind speed. That's the great news. Both boats up on their foils. Good question, Ali. It's certainly worked out in Emirates Team New Zealand's favor last time, just to kind of do time and distance, and they had a little better start. Not to mention they were right on the starting line. Artemis, if I remember correctly, it seemed like hours ago, pulled the trigger about 2.5 feet too early. So if it's time and distance, let's see who does that just a little bit better than the other.
Okay, board up. Yep, all right.
Another bite at the cherry then, another stab at race number 7 between Nathan Attridge's Artemis Racing of Sweden and Peter Burling's Emirates Team New Zealand. The challenger place on the line, the Kiwis leading 4-2. They need one race win to progress to the match itself.
I gotta wonder which skipper thinks he's in a faster boat right now. They're both heading back to the line pretty early. Still 38 seconds to go, and they're quite close. They're going to come up on this ley line. They're going to come all the way down. There's the ley line. They don't want to go much beyond there. If they go beyond there, they become a little at risk. And sure enough, Artemis gaps off. They're going to try time and distance from up above Emirates Team New Zealand.
So maybe the hand-to-hand combat, so to speak, is beginning to diminish now as they think about timing this start. 9 seconds, 8 seconds. The Swedes just going to have to slow up a little bit here because they cannot afford to do what they did in this race previously when the penalty was awarded to them. This time they're clean off the line.
Who can get up on their foils the quickest? Sometimes that, what we call a low-speed angle, the bottom of the start box in this light air actually can be a little quicker. Aiming straight for the mark right now. This is absolutely a flat-out boat speed contest. Not much in it.
Barely anything at all. Peter Burling keeping a keen eye on his opposite man, Nathan Attridge, as they reach to the first mark.
And going a little quicker. We haven't seen that. We're going to see a little up. We're going to see Nathan Attridge actually get a little taste of his own medicine. This is what he's done to Burling several times, that little luff and then stretch out around the mark. Very well played by Peter Burling.
So this time it is the Kiwis who reach the first mark in front, as they did in this race a little earlier on today that was abandoned, but prior to that, the Swedes, 6 out of 6 at the starts. So Burling turning the tables. Can he make it count?
Remember, when it was blowing about this much in the first race, on this first run, Emirates Team New Zealand really stretched out. Part of that could have been wind shift, wind pressure, and a nice stable jibe by Artemis. That's a good sign for Artemis fans. They had a nice stable jibe that first time around. You know these guys can jibe in this condition.
Massive gain here if we can get under one.
That was the voice of Peter Burling. Massive gain here if we can get into one. I think they just have more pressure down on that side of the race course right now.
So they're trying desperately to reach that gate without manoeuvring any further.
I'm happy to go forward. He's almost getting down as well.
No more jibes, but he recognises that Nathan Attridge might not be too far away from achieving that himself. But look at the discrepancy in the boat speeds.
Yeah, there's just more pressure on that side of the course. He did a really nice job being patient there.
Favoured, so if we can get down, it's good.
Get himself into a pretty dominant position early on in the race.
Wow. little bit more coming to here. Here it is.
Big speed difference here, Ali. 6
Another
knots.
pole just on your left shoulder.
And it's consistent, isn't it?
It really is. It's a little better angle. They're coming up to this gate at a slightly better angle. Artemis trying to get low, bear off. See that higher angle? He's angled up, and Artemis is angled down. That inherently in light air just creates a big boat speed difference, and you can see it there, 5-6 knots.
What are the options for the Swedes from here? Are they going to make this in one, or are they going to have to jibe again?
By their angle, by their depth that they're trying to sail away from the wind, looks to me like they're trying to make the gate
Nice and easy, just steady.
instead of splitting away. Look how slow they are coming into the mark.
Yeah, that is the problem with taking it so tight that the Kiwis are steaming away at 26.5 knots.
They're actually faster upwind than Artemis was downwind going into that mark.
And we saw that a lot yesterday, didn't we?
Happy to go here. Keep him.
Upwind speed really strong from Emirates Team New Zealand throughout the 3 races yesterday, and they've really got off to a cracker.
Heavy driving is the line.
Plenty to do here already for the Swedish crew.
Interesting that the Swedes tack. Honestly, it's kind of like they did this yesterday. They tack right in line. I mean, essentially, they tack into a cover. You know, instead of Emirates Team New Zealand having to tack to cover them, they tack directly downwind and completely in control of Emirates Team New Zealand at this stage. Interesting move. They wanted to go to the left. Why didn't they split and go to the other gate? I'm a little confused by this move, I have to admit.
Not too hard, we're going well.
So a lead, a healthy lead, and the fly time decent as well. The wind speed's picked up, by the way, from around about 8 knots at the start of this race. It's now 11.
Remember, the Kiwis are 100% win rate when they're first to that first mark.
That spells trouble for the Swedes at this point. If you were to just analyse the statistics, although we've seen how one mistake can cost teams, and it very, very nearly cost the Kiwis at the final mark of the final race yesterday. Peter Burling nearly blew it.
The kid doesn't have a pulse. I mean, we should seriously check his heart rate, because I don't think he ever breathes. I mean, it's just calm under pressure. Looking around, nice day. Brought my sunblock.
Yeah, 1 minute now on the boundary.
We've spoken about it before, Ken. This sharing of the responsibility between himself and Glenn Ashby in particular.
Probably had the option. Yeah. He's gone, but we'll go to the 50. See the marks in front of us there, right?
Yeah, the way they have shared out the duties has really been working for the Kiwis. It has been a proper team operation. No one man has huge responsibility on his shoulders. Peter Burling very much the focal point, clearly, but everybody knows their part. And again, another very precise tack. So stable and heading for gate 3 with a really healthy lead.
We talked earlier about the crew change on the Kiwi boat. They actually swapped out to Simon van Veldhoven right at the last minute, so I think they thought this breeze was coming up, and they might have put remember, he's the cyclist.
What about this wind shift we're seeing? Top left of your screen, the indicator suggesting it's really shifted to the right.
Yeah, I think it's shifted a little bit to the right. Not crazy like that first leg. Certainly, sorry, the first race we had today, the canceled race, that's when we were seeing massive wind shifts. They still look to me like they're still pretty squared up on the race course. So that could be a wind indicator actually from a different part of the race course.
on lay.
Means it's shifty. No, I see. Yeah, there is a good wind shift. They're going to jibe and almost lay all the way down. So I believe that wind indicator now. I was trying to doubt, never, like a pilot says, never doubt your instruments. I was doubting the instruments, and that was absolutely the wrong thing to do.
So you think they're almost going to try to make this in one stretch,
Look,
the Kiwis?
Yeah, they're going all the way down the race course here. They're going all the way down the race course in one, so that was a quick little jibe, and they're going to have a long stretch down the race course. See that? They're almost heading for the mark. There's the line all the way down the course. So what that tells all of us in the sailing world is that there has been a large right-hand wind shift. I guarantee you, once they went through that gate, Ian Murray will be scampering to move the gate that they just went through to the right side of the course and square it back up again. That's what great regatta directors and that's what they do. They just shift. They shift this course around. But we never even know how much they shift the course around, almost between every leg.
So the Kiwis flying. Look at it again. They've found extra pressure out there, and they are going consistently 5-6 knots quicker than the Swedes. And at the moment, the race is theirs. It really is. It's there for the taking. What do you do if you're Nathan Atteridge at this point?
Boy, oh boy. This is a big lead. And not just a big lead, but a boat against a boat that's going very... This is no fluke.
Moving the top mark to the right.
You can even hear it in Ian Purcell's voice right now.
Just an enormous space opened up between these two.
Coming up.
Surely the New Zealanders can't be stopped from here. Surely their name will be confirmed as the America's Cup challenger. Their form right now, absolutely impeccable.
30 seconds.
A lot of big rain clouds around still, though, as every Kiwi fan on the planet knows. This is very familiar to what they had going in San Francisco. Lots of rain showers around. I'm not trying to be a downer here, but it's still a precarious weather conditions out on the race course, to say the very least.
Well, the Swedes are going to have to hope for something pretty dramatic from this position, whether it is a change in the weather, a shift in the wind that suddenly propels them forwards at high speed, some sort of calamity to befall the Kiwis. Are they closing?
This is a really interesting. The wing here has very little camber to it. Glenn Ashby runs around, jumps into the camber adjustment or some sign of adjustment, and watch this. Watch when he goes back up again. The camber pops full. Maybe we can see the upward angle. Something was going on with the wing and why it couldn't have what in sail terms, sail depth to it. For some reason, it was very flat, and he went and made some quick adjustment. All of a sudden, the camber popped very deep. The angle between the front and back element all of a sudden took shape.
Ashby is a very busy man right now.
That's the leech line on the jib. We love that shot, by the way. The leech line on the jib is probably fluttering a little bit.
Standing by, go quick. I'll let you know, look.
So watch when Ashby goes back up on the high side. Watch the camber, watch the wing, and all of a sudden it's going to pop full right there. All of a sudden, tons of depth is added to it. So that's fascinating. He made a change to it somehow. 500-meter leads down to 350.
Deficit cut, but the size of the race course is against the Swedes at this point. Just 1.5 legs meaningfully before the reach to the finish. At the moment then, it is all New Zealand for all the tinkering and the trouble that they may or may not be having with their wing. The Swedes are playing catch-up. At the moment, they're staring right down the barrel.
we're going to have to move quite fast, but it's 30 seconds in this high note. 18.
They have squared up the race course. So we are, if you're an Artemis fan, it's not quite as skewed as that last run looked like. Big split on the race course right now. The kid doesn't seem to mind being on this side of the race course, so why should we doubt it at this stage? I think they should go adjust the leach line again. That's what I'm looking for.
Go, go, go! Easy later.
That bow down trim, we talked about it a lot early on. Does a bunch of things, aerodynamics. They get the rudders out of the water, the drag of the rudders out of the water.
And again, we're seeing a big discrepancy in speed, aren't we? 4 knots, something of that nature.
Cool.
Easy lay here, boys.
I guarantee you. Let's go down to Joey Newton on the water. Joey, I have a feeling your boys are all sitting in that dark room that you've described, their little watching room back at Oracle Team USA, watching a really fast Kiwi boat right now.
Yeah, they sure are, Ken. Boys are all in our little room, the dojo we call it. They'll all be watching this, and yeah, it's pretty impressive with the Kiwis. They're on the light air boards and they're just streaking away from Artemis. So, you know, Artemis has got to be hoping for something to go wrong to the Kiwi boat, but I really can't see it happening from here.
So one more downwind leg. Emirates Team New Zealand seemingly cruising to victory and cruising into the America's Cup match itself as the challenger. That's what's on the line right here. The Swedes at the moment are heading for the exit door. They're miles away. They are looking buried at this stage. Peter Burling and the rest of his Kiwi crew, or they will turn their heads at various different points, and they will have to really strain to see the Swedes, who are nowhere near being in their slipstream.
It'll be a reach up. Left hand will reach.
Not even in the same picture.
Dominant.
Sideways.
As dominant.
Okay, 10 seconds.
And this is an Artemis boat that earlier today we were saying really looked stable and good in this light air. Just shows Kiwis have a bit of a mode sometimes that are just scary. If you're a competitor, it's just scary.
Time running out, and there must be a slow realization from the Swedish crew at this point that their adventure here in Bermuda is drawing to a close.
And a team that, like all the teams in this event, has just been just solid and great guys and very open to us, and they've been wonderful to this for the sport. There's nothing not to like about Artemis Racing, and every single member of their team, Torbjörn Tornquist, the principal and owner of the team, class act. Nothing to be ashamed of. They're losing to a better team right now, Ali.
He's back down.
Still putting it in. Still putting in those hard yards, but the New Zealanders are bearing down on victory.
Keep going, another 5, at least another 5.
It's a fun feeling right now on board this boat. Now, granted, we said there's no way they could screw this up yesterday, too, and goodness gracious, they almost gave all their fans a heart attack. One more jibe, and they're going to come zipping across to this finish line that's, you know, I've said it before, I think it's almost a pitching wedge today. Feeling a little stronger today. To the finish line right off of our booth.
They're through that final mark. They have turned for home. The New Zealanders now on this victory sprint down the runway, close to the shoreline in front of thousands of fans who are in the grandstand. They're all along the edge of the shore, and they have witnessed a terrific performance. The Kiwis absolutely flying home and flying into the America's Cup match itself as the challenger. And the rematch against the Americans is on. 2013 San Francisco and all. The New Zealanders will get a chance to right those wrongs and put things straight. They have seen off the Swedes. Celebrations of a very good job done, and you can just see what it means. There will be celebrations too, 9,000 miles away. 4.5 million people in the north and the south island of New Zealand will let out a collective cheer and applaud Peter Burling, Glenn Ashby, Blair Tuke, and all those others on board. The Swedes are down and out, undone ultimately by some inconsistencies, fluctuations in form, and ultimately outraced by the Kiwis. It's the New Zealand flag which is hoisted highest. So well done to Peter Burling, Glenn Ashby, Blair Tuke, Andy Maloney, Josh Jr. and Simon van Veldhoven, not to mention Guy Endine and the part that he played. So let's have a word with Peter Burling. Peter, you've done it. Finally, we got the